Hello and welcome to PSY 230 Personality Theory. My name is Dr. Tamara Daly, and the purpose of this video is to give you an orientation to the setup of this online asynchronous course that is a part of the curriculum in the Department of Psychology, Neuroscience, and Human Development. Where I'm going to start is just sort of walking you through how I've set up D2L. We'll also talk a little bit about the syllabus and some of the expectations that I have for you as we move our way through the course. I will also show you where to find your textbook and how to interact with your textbook on perusal. And I'll show you where my video lectures are housed. They're both housed here on D2L through links, but also I have playlists on YouTube for my online content. So to start, when you log into your D2L site, and I have this in the student view, you'll go first to the Start Here button, which makes sense. The first button that you click there is the orientation of the course. The video you're watching right now is going to be right here in this spot. Note that in each of these modules on D2L, there will be a box at the bottom where it says attention, and you have some choices of where you can navigate next. So as you're getting used to the course and you're familiarizing yourself with the requirements and expectations, just keep hitting that next button so that you come to the next pieces of content that you'll need to pay attention to as you figure out how this class works. So after watching this video, you can go back and remind yourself who I am, and you can be aware of my contact information. So my office is in Tollerton and Hood Hall in room 206 with all the other faculty in my program. I do not have scheduled office hours. Instead, what I've found works better is for people to book appointments with me through my Outlook calendar. And you can do that by using this app, the Bookings Page app. It's nice because we don't have to have all of those emails back and forth trying to figure out a time that works for us. You can just put yourself on my calendar. It automatically blocks off times when I have other responsibilities like classes and meetings so that we won't have to deal with that. You can choose either a virtual meeting through Teams, or you can choose an in-person appointment. I am on campus 5 days a week. My hours vary in terms of when I'm there, but you can make appointments with me whenever you want. My email is listed here, as is my office phone. This class, PSY 230, it's in a group of courses in our curriculum at the 200 level. So these are intended for students who've had an introductory course in psychology, either here at another institution or as a high school student. In our curriculum, the 200 level courses typically, they're often called survey courses because they cover a broader, they cover a topic, an area within the broader field of psychology. So that's why they're called survey courses. It's basically you're going to get a broad swath of this discipline that we call personality theory. In some universities, they teach this as personality and adjustment. So it's kind of like a mixture of personality and developmental. I don't do that. I focus more on the theory development area within personality theory. And I also take sort of a socio-historical approach to it. If you are a major in any of our programs in psychology, neuroscience, or human development, this course meets the distribution requirement in the social developmental area. If you are a minor, this course would count toward the psychology minor. I've listed here the course objectives and the connection to the department learning goals. These are also listed in your syllabus if you want to find them. Basically, what this course does is it will help you get an understanding of how psychologists define the word personality, how they measure it, how they assess it, and then what it means in terms of how psychologists conceptualize what it is to live a good life. And that sounds like a lot of philosophy, and in some ways it is. We start with Sigmund Freud's work, and we go all the way to the end of the book where we're looking at the ways in which Western psychologists have taken Eastern philosophies to help them answer those same questions. How is personality structured? How does it develop? How does pathology emerge? How does healthy living come about, and so on? We will be looking at the historical context of each theory, so that you can get an understanding of why theorists concocted the beliefs that they did. Not all of them are theories that are well respected at the present time. For instance, Sigmund Freud's work is heavily criticized and has lots of problems. So we need to understand why. You might be asking, so if his stuff is so problematic, why do we still talk about it? Well, mostly because it has remained influential, so we'll have to figure out why. So we'll talk about how do we evaluate these theories and understand whether they're quote unquote good or not good. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And so on. And then finally, I want you to be able to take these theoretical points of view and think about them in your own life context. So you'll have some reflective activities each chapter that you will use to kind of get yourself thinking in the mode of each of these theories, and using the ideas that these theorists have built into their theories. Your syllabi, as well as the course map, are housed in this module under course syllabus. You have several versions that you can choose from. There's a PDF version of the full syllabus, a Word version of the full syllabus. I also, at the request of students in the past, since syllabi are so long now, I have popped out just the calendar pages from the syllabus so that you can see them. Now, as you can see on the screen, D2L is having an issue right now with displaying files. Hopefully they will get that resolved soon, because boy, is that annoying. But you can download these files and then have them to use as you wish. Your textbook is available through a platform called Perusal. And what Perusal does, and I'll show you what it looks like here in a second, it's essentially social media for reading. And I'll just go there and show you. In this information here, I have provided you with an access code to enroll in my course. So this code right here. So when you go to Perusal, first you'll need to join. There's no cost. It's a free program. You don't have to download anything. You just go to this website. I will say it doesn't work particularly well on cell phones. It's a bigger program. It's hard to read and to do the things you need to do in Perusal on a phone. It works fine on iPads, laptops, and probably other tablets as well. So where you put in that course code to enroll is right here, enroll in course. Then after you've enrolled, where it will take you is to this class. And you can see that your textbook has been loaded into the library here, and it's divided up into assignments. Before you can open the textbook, and it will prompt you the first time you try and open assignment, so when you look at the Frager and Fadiman introduction, you'll click this open button. It'll prompt you to either enter a purchase code that you've gotten from our university store. If you're in the Rater Ready program, that's what you will use. Or if you're not in the Rater Ready program, you will have to purchase rental of the textbook at this point. After you've gotten access to the book and you open it up, you see I'm right here in this little bubble. That means I'm online right now. And what you do with this program is I have put in here, I highlighted the word introduction and I put in a comment. I said, before you begin reading, please introduce yourself and describe why you're taking this course. So what you'll do after you see my comment over here, you can type in this space just like you would be posting on social media. You can type the @ symbol and type the word everyone, and that will send your comment to everyone in the class. You can use the @ symbol and talk to specific people. So you could type @ and my name, and you can talk directly to me, and I'll be notified that you have asked a question or made a comment specifically referencing me. You can do that with anyone in the class as well. So if someone else in the class, highlights a comment, say they want to comment on this concept called reductionism, you copy or you highlight that section that you want to comment on, then you pop over here to the conversation and you enter your conversation. Now, what Perusal does is it, underneath the hood, there is a set of algorithms and programs that assess what you're putting in terms of its cognitive complexity. So my goals here for your reading, I want you to read. That's the first part. But I also, since this is an online course, this is the place where you're going to interact with your classmates and you're going to interact with me. This is where we will have the most opportunity to actually have conversations with each other in this environment. And I think once you get used to it, you'll like it. Students tend to do better on their quizzes. They tend to do better on other assessments when they have worked through this process of reading and paying attention and interacting with others as they read. So that's how it works. Now, how it scores things, how Perusal scores things, and I do strongly recommend that you, as you get started, that you look at some of the background information that explains how Perusal works. There is a page here, on D2L that describes how Perusal works and how scores are generated. So make sure that you read that and understand it. Essentially, you'll be scored based on the degree to which you are meaningfully interacting with the text, meaning you can't highlight something and just say, yeah, I agree with that, or wow, that's interesting. While those are fun and entertaining comments, they're going to get you a score of 0 because you are not extending, you're not interpreting, you're not asking a meaningful question. While you can make those comments, just remember that your top 3 scoring comments, Perusal calls them annotations, will be the ones that will count towards your grade for that assignment. So each chapter that I assign you to read, you need to make a minimum of 3 annotations. So those are comments, questions, reactions. They can be original comments that you make, or you could be reacting to a classmate's comments or to my comments as you read. The things that are going to get you low scores are those kinds of pithy comments that I just described, like, wow, that's fun, or that's interesting, or I agree with Joan. Those are going to get you 0s or 1s. 3 comments that get you 3 points, are comments where you are not just repeating what the text says, you're not just repeating what someone else said, you're not pulling, copying, definitely not copying and pasting information from other websites. That's a no-no. That will actually get flagged in the system and scored a 0. 2s, it's less clear exactly how it's going to evaluate a 2. Usually they are, one sentence responses that go beyond exactly what the wording of the text says, but also extend just a tiny bit. but not as much as the system wants. Now, of course, this is a computer program. It's an algorithm. It's a type of AI that's looking at what you write. So my job as your instructor, I look at every comment that students make. I do not respond to each one. I have a lot of students in multiple classes. All of them use Perusal. However, I do respond to questions, especially if they're directed at me. I respond to information that people post that I think needs further explanation, so I'll jump in there. But mostly, I try to stay out of your conversation so that you can talk to one another. I do look at every score, and if I disagree with it, I change it and upgrade it. Usually it means upgrading a 2 to a 3 so that you get full credit. So it's not just that you make 3 comments of any quality. You have to make 3 high quality comments. Now, the first chapter, if you've never used Perusal before, and I'm guessing that a lot of you haven't, unless you took my social psychology class, once you get started, it will become very easy. Once you get through the first chapter and you get adjusted to the scoring, you'll be fine. And I typically, my students end up getting, as long as they do their end of the work, they end up getting, full credit for their Perusal assignments. Of course, if you have any questions, any concerns, please let me know. And the most easy way to do that is through email, or you can set up an appointment and I can walk you through how I use Perusal. Now at this point, you have a couple of choices where you want to go. I am going to pull up, I should have done this before. One moment while I pull up my syllabus for you. Ooh, you can tell how long I've been teaching. In the syllabus, you have a lot of the same information that I've already described for you. All of my contact information, how you can make appointments with me, the course purpose, the learning outcomes, and then the usual stuff that we are required to include in our syllabi, like technology requirements, course materials. This repeats the information about the course itself, or the textbook itself, and how to get on Perusal. Course assignments and grading are laid out here in terms of how each element of the course is weighted. So you've got chapter quizzes. There will be a quiz for each chapter that you read. You also have a portion of your grade that is how you interact with your textbook on Perusal. And then there are reflections every week that help you to put a kind of personal spin on your understanding of what you're reading and learning in your work in the class. For each chapter, in addition to Perusal, there will be video lectures that cover the material. And in some cases, there are extra videos that I find useful. Sometimes they are videos that I present during lecture. The students have told me there were times when they just wanted to watch that piece again for further learning. So all of that is on the playlist, and I'll show you that here in a minute. This is our departmental grading scale that all of us in our department use. What's next in the syllabus is brief descriptions of each of the elements. I do require in the chapter quizzes that you use the lockdown browser, which is basically a cheating prevention methodology within D2L. So make sure that you are set up to do that. I've already talked about reading engagement and how to interact with Perusal. The personal reflections, and I'll go to the Dropbox here in a second and show you what those look like. We will not be having a final exam that's comprehensive in this class. You have assessments each week, and with the quizzes, you can take each quiz a maximum of 3 times in order to improve your grade. You do have the option of extra credit. In my social psychology course, I use a podcast extensively called The Hidden Brain. You can listen to episodes of the Hidden Brain podcast for extra credit purposes if you would like. The remaining stuff here, including AI policies and so on, you can read those on your own. Some of these are university-wide policies and contacts. So, for instance, for the DWAC Studio, the Math Learning Center, and so on, I will leave you to read those on your own. The next part, and as I said, I have separate files that have just these course schedule pages popped out on their own. So what you'll see on the course schedule, it's laid out by week. So you have all the weeks throughout the entire semester laid out for you. What you'll see each week, and I do have a fondness, I admit, for color coding. All the perusal assignments are in green. The reflection assignments are in purple. Quiz assignment due dates are in blue, so that you know where to find those on your schedule. How the week lays out, I have you do the reflection first. Then I have you do your perusal reading, because I want you to do your personal reflection without underlying knowledge as we get started. And then the last thing you do is your quiz. So at the end of the week, first you do your reflection, then you do your perusal reading, and then you do your quiz. Now, students are all different. Some students wait until the end of the week to do all this work. Some spread it out. Like what I recommend is on Monday, do your reflection. Over the next couple of days, make sure you get your reading done and your perusal annotations. And then by the end of the week, perhaps after doing some studying of your chapter, and watching your videos of the chapter lectures, then take your quiz. So that's what I recommend, is that you space it out across your week. The deadlines are always kind of the same days of the week, with some exceptions of when we have short weeks, like right before spring break. I still leave the deadlines in their usual spot, but there are some short weeks where you may be traveling, you may be away. Just make sure that you're aware of when things are due. When we get to the end of the term, notice that I have in here deadlines for when your last opportunity is to turn in any work for me, and that's during that last week of classes. Again, there is no final exam for this class. All right. Now, let's see. Where you will spend most of your time when you are in this, taking this class and working week to week, is in the weekly modules. So, for instance, for week 1, you start by reading this overview, where this first week of classes, you're going to be learning about how psychologists from the beginning of the field have thought about what it means to be a human being, and answering a lot of these questions, like what is it that all humans have in common? What kind of drives do they have that motivate them and that control their behavior? How do they develop and grow from birth to adulthood? How do they continue to change? What kind of things can go wrong in personality development, causes problems, and then how are they fixed? Because a lot of these personality theories are actually theories that become the basis for counseling techniques. So we'll talk a lot about that as well. Each week is accompanied by a video overview. It's a very short description of what you'll be doing during the week. There are weekly learning outcomes that are really tethered to the text and the chapter, the area that you're going to be reading that week. This first week a lot of it is just getting your feet on the ground and underneath you after a long Christmas break, accessing your textbook, reading the Getting Started page on perusal, and then reading your assigned chapter, and submitting by the deadline. That you also need to watch the lecture videos as well. And those are posted down here. You have a tab here at the top for each of the videos that are available. Now, speaking of the videos, I do have a playlist of all videos. Right now, what you're seeing here, I'm recording the new orientation for spring 2024, and I'll be removing the old one and replacing it with the new one. You have all of your videos for this chapter, including extra videos, placed here on the playlist in order of how you will meet them when you are going through the course across the semester. I've had some students tell me, they take their tablet, they go to the gym, set it up on one of the machines, and they will multitask and get some exercise while watching their lecture videos. Keeps them focused. So that's a strategy. If that works for you, fabulous. Week 1, you don't have a reflection assignment. That starts week 2. Now, notice that there are these navigation buttons at the top and at the bottom of each module so that you can navigate either backwards or forwards within the class. So week 2, we'll be starting our first actual theory. We'll be looking at Freudian psychology in week 2. There's your video overview. There's your learning goals that are connected specifically to this chapter. And then this is what your weekly modules are going to look like. You're going to have an assignment for completing your reflection. You're going to have an assignment where you're completing your perusal annotations and doing your reading. An assignment where you are watching your videos, and then your quiz. And as I said, all of your videos are posted here in D2L. You can watch them in D2L, or you can go to the playlist on YouTube and watch them there. So that's essentially how this space is set up. For your quizzes, and I do have links to each of the quizzes in each of your weekly modules, so you really shouldn't have to go to the quiz tab, but if you want to, you can reach your quizzes through the quizzes tab. You can reach your personal reflection assignments. Again, they are linked. There's a link for you already built into each of the weekly modules, but sometimes students want to take a look at the other reflections that are coming down the road. I have had some students who want to work ahead a little bit and do many of the reflections right away. I don't have any strong opinions about whether that's a good idea or a bad idea. Feel free to do that however you choose. Each Dropbox, when you go to it, you can submit a personal reflection for Chapter 1. Most of them are set up this way. You have some options. You have option 1 and option 2, and you read the 2 options, pick one of them, and then you write your reflection in the space provided. And this is a text reflection, so you type right into a text box to submit your assignment. And each of these has its own deadline, so you can see where those are, and they go throughout the entire semester. There's also a Dropbox for extra credit if you decide you want to do that. In the quizzes space, same kind of thing. Each quiz, I don't have locks on when they're available. They are available. All of them are available now. Those I do not recommend working ahead. I recommend that you do things in the order that I've requested, where you do your reflection, you do your reading, you watch your videos, and then you take your quiz. And that seems to work best for most students. Let's see, what else might you need to know? I will probably talk a little bit more at a later point in time about additional information about grades, but most of what you need to know is self-explanatory as long as you use the D2L site the way it's intended. So you can get to the content browser either through this space on the course home page, or you can go to the content browser, which looks a bit different. It looks like this. It will tell you what you've looked at, what you haven't looked at, and so on. So you have a lot of options there. Of course, if you have questions, if you have concerns, you can reach me through my email. You can reach me just by stopping by at my office, and you can reach me through my bookings page. There will be times up in our department where there are dogs present. Sometimes my therapy dog, Asta, makes appearances. You might notice on my bookings page, you can also make an appointment with her. If you want just some cuddle time with a puppy, feel free to do that. I also have a Labrador puppy. Her name is Nixie. She shows up every now and then when she's working with students in Dr. Muller's classes in animal cognition or learning. So I'm really looking forward to working with all of you. Please reach out if you have questions or concerns as we get this semester started.